Sunday afternoon basketball here in Boise brings the Weber State Wildcats into town 2-0 on the season, making their first road trip of the season outside of Ogden. They come to Boise to take on the 3-1 Boise State Broncos right here at ExtraMile Arena. Leonard Berry, Dave Southern with you on the call. And the Boise State Broncos and the Wildcats both had games canceled, luckily to get this one scheduled. And Boise State is looking to stay hot. A big 74-70 victory on Wednesday against BYU, Dave.
That for Boise State, that was a huge win because they were able to go on the road against a team that they've developed a pretty good rivalry against and went down and controlled the game for the most part. Obviously took a little bit of last-second magic to win it. But Boise State wants to stay hot, and they were able to get this game scheduled the day after beating BYU. Very 2020.
Certainly very 2020 indeed. Emmanuel Acott, the man who hit that game-winning shot. He had a big game, 13 points, 6 rebounds, and, of course, the game winner that Bronco fans were hoping for when he transferred in.
He's shown an immediate impact. He played well against College of Idaho in his first game, got it tuned up a little bit, and then hit the biggest shot of the year for Boise State. In exactly the kind of way you want to do it. Last second against a rival, he's provided us a great impact right away.
And the first time that the Broncos won in Provo since 1996, last victory in Provo. But Acott wasn't the only one getting it done. A man who many people thought wouldn't have a starting role this year thanks to the appearance of Marcus Shaver, Ray J. Dennis playing outstanding through the first 4 games of the season.
Dennis was the guy who set up that shot for Acott. Just great court awareness. What he's been is so impressive. You look at those offensive numbers, they've been great leading the team in scoring, but also Emmanuel Acott this week said that the thing that's impressed him most about Ray J has been his defense. So this is a guy, a lot of people were excited for the transfers, Derrick Alston, but Ray J. Dennis has been a really, really pleasant surprise for Boise State and just continuing to show that depth that they have on this roster.
Well, we'll see if he can keep it going here this afternoon against Weber State. It's the Broncos and the Wildcats coming up right here next on the Mountain West Network. Welcome inside ExtraMile Arena, just moments away from tip-off of the Broncos Starters being announced here at the moment. And yet again, they will go with the same starting 5 they had on Wednesday against BYU. Ray J. Dennis again slotting in for the injured Marcus Shaver, who injured and re-aggravated his foot injury last time the Broncos were at home in the victory over College of Idaho.
Dennis just is really stepped up kind of in that point guard spot for Boise State. And look at that lineup, 4 guys averaging double figures. Armish, the big guy in the middle who is the top rebounder on the team, has been very impressive on that end. Really good look for Boise State with these 5 and some depth behind them too.
And that depth came into play on Wednesday as both Armish and Lucas Milner, the 2 bigs for the Broncos, got into foul trouble thanks to the refereeing at BYU, both of them, in fact, fouling out of the game. So Broncos went without bigs for a good majority of the second half against BYU, still managed to come away with an impressive victory.
Those big guys, big part of that defense, but it's been a team effort, and they were able to be tough all game long, even without those guys in there as much as they would like.
Well, it'll be Armish in the circle against the 6'10 senior from Duluth, Minnesota, Cody Carlson, for the Weber State Wildcats as we are underway, and the tip won by Carlson. Basketball in Boise begins with Weber State. Wildcats have not yet played a Division I opponent this season as they get their first shot away, a 3-ball that won't go. That was Ziggier Porter, and the rebound to Acott for Boise State. Here's Alston trying to create his own shot. Little right-hand floater won't go, and the rebound is lost by Armish and Alston. Dangerous pass there, and Weber State lucky to keep possession. Here's Carlson, picks up the dribble, hands off to Porter. Ten on the shot clock, 3-ball on its way again, and once again, they miss. Carlson, big battling, and he traveled.
Carlson from Duluth East High School, one of the Greyhounds back home in Minnesota.
And he is the man in the middle, averaging 14.5 a game, 3rd in the nation, in fact, in field goal percentage. 84.6 as Alston just drops the basketball
Interesting makeup for this Weber State team. I think picked 3rd in the preseason Big Sky coaches poll, but a lot of new faces. They got 9 newcomers, 5 D1 transfers, including Isaiah Brown, the top scorer.
That they do. And running the point at the moment is Sigu Sisoho Jawara, who's a transfer from Loyola Marymount. Yet another traveling call against Weber State. This time it's against Mikhail Kozak, who can't believe it, but he did pick up the dribble and take some steps, so good call.
I'm going to give you a gold star for that pronunciation.
I try to keep my Eastern European names in order. Bronco women team have a couple. Of course, Boise State have 2 Serbs as well. Ray J. Dennis for 3 straight away, and that's good. First points of the game for either team.
Dennis, who we, of course, highlighted pregame, has just been excellent for Boise State. A guy that maybe was going to be their top guy off the bench has been maybe their top starter. He's been so impressive this year.
Just about 2 minutes gone. Here's Brown, his first shot attempt of the game. Mid-range won't go, and Armish brings it the other way. Dennis wants Kejab. Kejab wants the baseline, spins back into the middle. Finds Alston 3-ball. That one's good as well.
This Boise State team is so deep, and they seem a little less dependent on the 3-ball maybe than they have in the past, but when they can hit those shots, they're going to be extremely tough to stop.
Consistency from the outside is definitely going to be a question for the Broncos all season, but as you mentioned, if it does fall, they're going to be dangerous. There's some good defense from Kejab. In the end, ends up fouling Isaiah Brown, and that'll get him to the line, try to get Weber State to snap this scoreless drought they have to start the game.
Brown's been scoring 27.5 a game and 55 points in his 2 games so far. A little bit traveled from Seattle, went to Northwestern, went to Grand Canyon, now in Ogden at Weber.
Yeah, Brown has been around the United States. In fact, he was born in Anchorage, Alaska, where his dad played ball at Alaska Anchorage in college. Realized the talent that Brown had. They moved to Seattle, which is well known for producing high-quality basketball players and NBA prospects. And then Brown decided to go to 3 colleges as well. So he wanted to see the country, and he has done so. He makes both free throws, makes it 6-2. Here's Acott. He's got a big height advantage on Jawara. Fadeaway, however, won't go. Brown recovering nicely there after losing the handle. This is Porter. Entry pass to Kozak. Right-hand floater is good, and the Bronco lead quickly cut to 2.
Kozak and Carlson, they've got some physical guys that can play down low and work the post.
Good pass by Kejab, finding the open Dennis, but he leaves it just a tad bit short. First substitution for the Broncos. Acott will step off, and on comes Max Rice, who's been the 6th man of the year for Boise State.
Second leading rebounder on the team. Last time we saw him here at ExtraMile Arena, played an excellent game for Boise State against College of Idaho.
Rice had a field day in that one. Good defense there by Armish as they were looking for Carlson in the painted area. 16 points and 12 rebounds for Rice, and that last one is Alston is stuffed by Kozak and fouled.
It was really interesting to see after that College of Idaho game, even after the BYU game, I think, too. Our old friend Ryan Watkins, the former great rebounder at Boise State, was comparing Max Rice to Jeff Oloriaga, just kind of being that glue guy that we talked about in the last broadcast here from home. And Rice has really added that. Once again, just showing the multiple options they can throw out there.
Derrick Alston at the free throw line. First time we've talked about him today is Naza J. Smith checks on. And Alston was the guy at Boise State. I mean, Justinian Jessup certainly was here and played a huge role the past 4 seasons, but when this team and this roster, and Alston announced he was coming back this season, was all revealed to us, people were expecting Derrick Alston will be the man, and so far he's taken a little bit of a backseat role to all the newcomers.
And I don't know if Boise State would complain too much about that, considering how well those other ones have done, that they know what they have in Alston, and there's going to be games where he's going to be relied on to give him a lot of offense, and I think he's capable of it.
Armush back out to Dennis. Little hesitation, knocked away, no call. And Sissoko Jawara comes away. Broncos defense, good job to stop the fast break. Brown step back 3, no good as Dennis stumbled. Just over 4.5 gone here in the first half. Broncos and Wildcats. As Alston wants a call, doesn't get it. Dennis will try to get a 3 again. And after making the first one, he's gone cold from behind the line. Great no-look pass from Brown. That was way too easy for Weber State. Carlson rewarded with the easy bucket after running the floor. Alston left alone. 3 won't go. There's that consistency we talked about a little bit, Dave.
Absolutely. Weber State doing a great job of getting those rebounds and taking them right back down the floor, and even the big guy hitting 3-pointers.
Even the big man getting involved indeed. Cody Carlson knocking it down. Not afraid to put his astronomical field goal percentage on the line to step back. That gives Weber State their first lead of the afternoon. 9-7 ball game.
Carlson's 3 for 4 on threes this season.
Alston has it stolen away by Porter. Transition 3, Brown from deep. And Leon Rice wants a timeout. Saw that one coming. Back-to-back 3-pointers for the Weber State Wildcats. 12-7 is our score. 6-10, 6-5, doesn't matter. Wildcats knocking it down from outside. Weber State Wildcats are on top, 12-7 here as Bronco head coach Leon Rice, 201 career victories, got number 200 here at home, 12 wins away from the all-time record held by Bobby Dye. But one thing Coach Rice has done in his 11 seasons here, Dave, defend home court. The Broncos are an insane 124-30 under Rice here at ExtraMile Arena, formerly Taco Bell Arena.
Leon Rice coming over from Gonzaga, where they have obviously a great home court advantage. And that was one of the things when he got here that he wanted to establish. After, his second year was a tough year, and after that, they have been as tough to beat at home in the Mountain West as anybody, which has a lot of really good home court advantages.
San Diego State, Utah State both come to mind right off the bat. Here's Jawara, 3-ball rattles around, that won't go. Weber State on a 12-1 run over the last 3.5. Acot's back out there on the court coming out of the break. Lucas Milner also out there for the Broncos, along with Max Rice, Ray J. Dennis, and Kejab, who has it in the corner at the moment.
Weber State's done a great job controlling the pace so far. Boise State got to break it up.
Rice does indeed manage to do that. And that was through some tough defense right there. Dante Bassett as well as Mikhail Kozak defending the paint, but Rice managed just to slip it in there. Here's Bassett spinning right around Milner and too strong. Acot trying to dance, nearly threw it out of bounds, looking for Dennis. Now he gets the return, working on the much smaller 6'2" Brown. Instead gives it up. Had an open man. Dennis. Range is not there for Dennis after knocking down the first. He's left the next 3 balls short of the rim. Score remains 12-9 as Brown has to give it up after losing the dribble. 10 on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Here's Jawara. Now 5. Corner drive, he's got to put it up. And it falls short of the rim. No shot clock violation. Rice had it.
There's some good defense there from Boise State. Exactly what they wanted, just to disrupt Weber State, who had done so great getting those shots off or on the fast break.
Key-jab finally connects on a 3-ball. Broncos were one of their last 7 until that one went down and tied the game. It's the first points of the game for Abu Key-jab. Both these teams with very similar roster construction. A lot of Division I transfers on both sides, including the man who had the ball right there, Dante Bassett, and we got a whistle jump ball from the backside official.
We were talking about Leon Rice, and this sort of team, this is what he was building toward.
Indeed, what he was building for. 12-12 is our score as Coach Rice comes out on the floor to talk during this timeout. 11:33 to play in the first half.
Look at with all the Division I transfers that Boise State has, or developing people like Alston and Ray J. Dennis, even having his own son as a guy coming in basically as a walk-on to be that glue guy. Boise State's got what they want, but Weber State's got a real nice team, it looks like, this year with a lot of those experienced guys coming from Division I schools.
Yeah, Weber State does have a lot of transfers. You saw him go on that run, getting buckets from everywhere. In fact, everyone who scored during that run is indeed a transfer. Cody Carlson went to Concordia University St. Paul in Minnesota. Isaiah Brown, as we mentioned, GCU last season, Northwestern the 2 seasons before that. Sigu Siso Jawara from Loyola Marymount by way of Mataro, Spain. I mean, this Weber roster has transferred everywhere. Ziggy Porter, who was in the starting lineup, went to New York Tech, not a Division I school, but a community college in New York that he managed to pour in impressive minutes and put up points last season. So these two teams are very similar in how they are put together, and
that's just how college basketball is now. Leon is in his 11th season. Randy Ray in his 15th year at Weber State. Actually, Randy Ray was a candidate at Boise State when they decided to hire Leon Rice.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Randy Ray, and I mean, certainly he has the accolades and the career record to prove it. He's 280 and 173 as a career head coach, 4-time Big Sky Coach of the Year. Let's not forget he recruited this relatively unknown player called Damian Lillard to come play in Ogden, Utah. That guy turned out all right, going 6th overall in the 2012 NBA draft. First team All-NBA or multiple-time All-Star. So Coach Ray knows how to recruit and knows how to build a team.
2 former Boise State assistants, Jeff Linder and Phil Beckner, worked with him at Weber too. So there's a couple ties with this team.
Great pass from Acott and the 2-handed flush from Milner to finish it off. Broncos back on top.
Starting to see Milner a little bit more these last couple games, and if he can get in there and be comfortable, that with him and Armish, they can use some height.
Milner's one of the transfers that wasn't talked about as much as all the Pac-12ers coming from Kansas at Johnson County CC, and Max Rice again proving his worth, knocking down a triple.
I was about to say Rice is cooking, but I don't want to turn the cliche machine on yet, but he's very confident and can do a lot of things for the Broncos, even though he's not the biggest guy, clearly.
5 points in 6 minutes on the court. I'd say that's doing pretty well. Broncos on a 10-0 run here over the last 2.5 minutes. 17-12 as Bassett wants to back down Alston. Alston goes down, doesn't get the call, but Bassett missed the shot regardless. The graduate transfer from the University of Florida. Alston, corner, no one around, and that's going to go down.
Sometimes it's just contagious. Max Rice nails one, and then DA on the next possession.
Alston wide open, makes the score 20-12. Broncos on top by 8 here on the Mountain West Network. Well, Weber State went on a little bit of a run around the 15-minute mark, and the Broncos quickly said none of that. They're on a 13-0 run over the last 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Weber State on a 4-minute scoring drought.
Just the simple act of making a basket, it takes them time to get the ball out of the net and everything like that, because when Boise State was missing shots, Weber State was able to take it on the other end, kind of get that fast break going. But when Boise State's been hitting shots, they've been able to get in that set defense and make it a lot more difficult in Weber State.
Here's Carlson spinning around. Milner, and Milner fouls him as well. That is an and one for Cody Carlson. And Milner just too late to react on the baseline spin.
Carlson's got to be the best big from Duluth East since Rick Rickert. If anybody knows who that is, please tweet me.
I'm sure as a former Minnesotan yourself, you are in love with this man from Duluth out here on the court. An interesting scramble for the ball, and in the end, it ends up back with the Wildcats, stepping through, and Milner fouling again. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Dylan
wow.
Jones just punched the referee completely on accident. And he is down and shaken up.
This might go a little viral.
That's Bob Staffen, who took a left hook. As we take
the right. Oh. And he immediately went to tend to the ref.
Sorry, folks.
There's Leon Rice tending to him. Hope he's all right.
That was a wicked shot.
Probably hurts enough.
Let's take another look from a wider angle. It was a great play by Jones to get to the basket, and he was fired up about it. And Staffen to his feet, woozily, I must add. That was something you do not expect to see on a basketball court.
That's a round one TKO by Jones.
I think the question here is, obviously it was unintentional. Is it worthy of a foul? It doesn't look like the officials are discussing the possibility, but I'm sure Bob Staffen didn't enjoy getting decked and nothing going to come of it. As we take a look at Jones, he finds the situation hilarious as he's laughing with his teammates.
It was back-to-back and ones.
Indeed, both fouls on Milner as well. I was going to add that. If we're actually talking about basketball, now Milner's in a little bit of foul trouble.
And Jones is not the smallest guy.
No, he's not. 6'6", 235.
Ooh.
Down goes Frazier.
Right on the jaw.
Well, folks, if you missed the UFC 256 fight last night,
I heard it was a great one. This one wouldn't make the undercard. But think about the odds. If he turned just slightly enough, would have got him in the shoulder, but just got him on the jaw, and there he is, right back at it. Look at that.
It was aggressive from Jones too. That was not just a normal.
It wasn't a fist pump.
That was not a fist. That was a full-on right hook haymaker. So Jones at the free throw line, and no ill will against him from the officiating crew. 20-17 our score after back-to-back and ones for Weber State. So there goes the Bronco run, quickly evaporated by 6 straight from the Wildcats, to go along with a fractured jaw for our official Bob Staffen. Armish goes down in a heap as he got tangled up with a member of Weber State. And the foul is going to be against Ziggy Porter.
Bob Staffen looking like Homer Simpson, able to take a punch and bounce right back up.
They run the inbounds play for Max Rice, and he just has to give it straight back to Alston. KJ Cunningham was all over it. Now here's Acott, trying to back down Jawara. Goes to the paint and fades away. That won't go. Jawara with the board.
Boise State had hit 4 in a row from the field before that miss.
Porter around Alston, and a foul again. Wildcats scoring in the paint at will and getting trips to the charity stripe to go along with it.
Smart by Bob Steffen to be on the other side of that shot.
This Weber State team is not one you want to send to the line as well. They're currently 5th in the country in the NCAA at all levels with an 83.9% free throw percentage, and again, they convert. Now they're on a 7-0 run. This is a game of seesaw runs here in half number 1.
Other than Carlson's miss, they're 4 for 4 from the line.
Got a foul. This time it's away from the basketball. And again, it's against Ziggy or Porter. The Broncos are 4 of their last 5 from the floor. Weber State 3 of their last 3. Both teams finally able to crack the defensive code. Inbound to Armish, straight away to Alston. Tie basketball game as we tick under 8:40 left in half number 1. Aycock got the switch he wanted. Now try to blow past Carlson. Said the help defense comes, and some great defense from Dylan Jones. Not only picking up the help side, but then stripping Key-Jab of the basketball. This Weber State team is playing the Broncos tough, a team that hasn't played a Division I opponent yet this season. Beautiful passing. Jawara finds Carlson, and Carlson again from inside the key.
Whenever Weber State has got those turnovers, they've usually cast them in pretty nicely. Right there, great pass to get that easy bucket.
Key-Jab wants Armish, doesn't find him. Instead, it's Jones, second steal of the game. Jawara looked like he wanted that transition 3. Instead, they'll try to reward Jones, who hits back iron. Broncos don't need a bucket here, but they'll get one from Key-Jab. And the 3 will give them the lead. I was going to say the Broncos don't need a bucket, but it felt like they did. But now they're back on top. Jawara goes in around Key-Jab. And Sigu Sissoko Jawara is having himself a first half. Here's Alston, offensive foul. And that is a charge against Derrick Alston. He's not too happy about it. Bronco bench not happy about it. And they are down by 1, 24-23. Wildcats on top of Boise State. Welcome back to Extra Mile Arena. We've talked about the glue. Well, Max Rice has been the glue so far through 4 this season. Today he's got 5 points and an assist as well, and second on the team in rebounds, Dave.
And he's been able to just do a little bit of everything. The last home game when he was here, he was creating turnovers, getting steals. See right there against BYU, the great pass on the assist. And when he's been shooting, when he's confident, he can knock down those 3-pointers, which was probably his main role, was just being able to hit those 3s off the bench. But he's been able to do a whole lot more than just that.
And he is back on the floor at the moment. Also have a correction. It was not Bob Staffen who got punched. It was Rick Batzel who took the right hook to the jaw as Jawara can't get that one to fall. But he's back up and hustling, so good to see that the haymaker didn't do too much to him. Broncos trail by a single point. Max Rice, that's a deep 3, and he leaves it left. Broncos have 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes, and Weber State will add a turnover as well. This time it's Cam Davis stepping on the end line.
Weber State has done a nice job turning those turnovers into points. We've got 8 points off those 7 turnovers, but really disrupts for Boise State when they're turning the ball over like that. If they can keep the ball, they've been pretty tough today.
In their first 2 games against Westminster and Adams State, Wildcats forced 19 turnovers, and at the moment, look like they can come somewhat close to getting the Broncos to that number. We take a replay at the foul. Armish just getting blocked off, so Broncos will get a chance to inbound here. And it will go straight to Armish. Now Smith wants to give it up, and it finally makes its way back into the post. Two Eastern Europeans going at it down low, and looks like the man from the Czech Republic is going to win out against the Serbian. Mikhail Kozak from Pilsen in the Czech Republic, battling against Armish of the Broncos from Belgrade, Serbia.
That is the fun fact. I don't know how I know this, but the word Pilsner for beer comes from that city. True story.
Dave Southern, the man with all the facts here this afternoon. Acott a little shimmy before giving it away and getting it back. Three ball, that one is nothing but net from Acott. And that is his first points of the afternoon.
Acott has 4 boards and 3 assists, but that was his first made shot of the game.
Weber finally gets it to Brown, who'll take a fadeaway. Kuzak comes in, saves it, throws it off Dennis. Great hustle play. Basketball IQ on full display by Kuzak.
Another guy with some decent height for Weber State, able to make some plays. Some of those forwards have been pretty tough today.
Kuzak stands in at 6'8". His partner in the paint, Cody Carlson, 6'10". So they do match up well against Boise State. This is the 6'2" Isaiah Brown, who lost it off his knee, and it's a Wildcat turnover. Dennis with the strip and the poke. Broncos on top by 2, 5 minutes left here in the first half. Acott, this time he's all alone, but it doesn't go down for him. Some suspect defense by the Wildcats, to be sure, have led to a lot of Boise State open threes. Part of the reason why the Broncos are 7 of 13 from deep. Dennis working on Bassett. Blocking foul. Call came late, but it will be 2 shots as Brown got in the way.
Some streaky scoring for both of these teams. It's been 2:45 since Weber State last scored. 3 turnovers for them. Boise State has been putting together a couple runs.
It's hard to imagine when you take a look at the stats that this is just a 2-point game, considering both teams are 9 for 20 from the floor. But Weber State 2 of 7 from deep, Broncos 7 of 13. Yet here we are with Boise State on top by 3.
Broncos getting a couple of those threes to drop, which can make a huge difference, but got to maintain that defensive end of it.
So Dennis makes them both, and the Broncos lead is now 4. 28-24, 4:30 to play. Chawara gets a high screen. And Rice got his hands on the basketball but couldn't keep it. This time the Broncos get a steal. It's Nazajay Smith, key jab going in, and Brown fouls him on the floor. A very smart foul by Brown there to avoid giving up the transition bucket.
Really nice play there by Smith, just poking that ball out. First team JUCO All-American for Boise State. Another new face on this roster. Really helping out on that defensive end too. 4th turnover in the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds for Weber State.
And there's so many big names on this Bronco roster coming from big schools. 2 from Arizona, and Acott and Dutrieve, who hasn't even played this season, won't be eligible until that game on the 21st against New Mexico. Kejab came last year but was from Oregon. Shaver from a very good conference in the WCC, coming from the University of Portland. But you have these transfers like Milner from Johnson County Community College, Armush from East Tennessee State, Smith, as you mentioned, from Cochise College in Arizona, that are going to play a big role this season that you simply can't overlook when you look up and down the roster for Boise State.
And some, like Armush, have at least been around a little bit. Smith is a guy, being a JUCO, didn't need to come here in redshirt, who might, as the year goes on, we'll see a little bit more. We haven't seen a ton of them this year, but right there, got the rebound and started that break.
And that was a beautiful move from Kijab, Euro stepping along the baseline and finishing with a pretty reverse to make it 31-24. Weber State in an offensive funk. Going to try to get out of it here with Cunningham, but his three won't go.
Boise State flashing some of that defense these last couple possessions, trying to really prevent any streaky runs for Weber State, kind of get that lead built up.
Here's Dennis. Wants to do it on his own? No, gives it up. Acott wants Kijab. Little pick and pop. 5 on the shot clock for the Broncos, and Acott pump fake, trying to draw the foul. Nearly converted on an ugly-looking three-pointer. Cunningham, a lot of space. This time steps inside and knocks it down. First basket for Weber State in 4.5 minutes. Broncos running some motion handoffs before finally entering Acott in the post. Acott finally puts it on the floor. Again, going to that mid-range fadeaway, and this time he knocks it down. Just 2 of 6 from the floor is Acott.
This lineup definitely has given Boise State a burst defensively, been able to convert a good amount on the offensive end, get this lead up to 7 without Alston or Armush in there.
Looks like we've got a foul on the floor. In fact, Broncos' 2 steal leaders in Kijab and Max Rice are on the floor along with Ray J. Dennis. 33-26, 1:57 to play in the first half. We'll take a break right here on the Mountain West Network. Broncos on top by 7, and leading scorer for them at the moment, Abu Kijab. He's having a quiet game. He's got 9 on 3 of 4 shooting already.
The Oregon transfer, when he came here, was adding a lot of leadership, some good athleticism to this roster. You saw right there on that reverse layup just what he can bring to the table, and a lot of versatility. The guy's 2 for 2 from three-point range. We saw him this last home game last week hitting those mid-range jumpers. He can do it all.
He also has a steal as well. In fact, everyone on the court minus Derrick Alston for Boise State has a steal in this game. Those 5 being Kijab, Acott, Armush, Dennis, and then Alston, who tipped that one right there. And will keep the ball with the Wildcats.
Still a lot of basketball to be played, but first 4 games, Boise State holding opponents to 40% shooting from the field. Leon Rice in 2014-15, team shot 41.6%. That was the second best in Boise State's 4-year era, which has been more than 50 years. So as of now, they're on pace to have one of the better defenses in school history. They can keep it up, and no reason to see why they couldn't.
We've got a timeout on the floor. I believe this is coming from the officiating crew as they want to review who touched the basketball last. From my view, it looked like it was certainly Alston, as I believe it was KJ Cunningham or Dylan Jones, one of the two, who was trying to throw it back in and managed to graze the arm.
Did look like it bounced off Alston a little bit, because we had a pretty good vantage point where we are. But
so here's the look. It's Cunningham throwing it, and from that angle, it looks very hard to tell just because of where Alston's hands are positioned at. We had basically, from our vantage point, a straightaway shot of what looked like Alston pushing his hand up. As we take a look at the wider angle, they're trying to review also as well. Alston does touch it, The question is, did KJ Cunningham step out of bounds before he jumped and grabbed the ball? And from that angle, it looks like the answer to that question is also no. So it should be Wildcat basketball here, if my eyes aren't deceiving me.
Of course, our eyes are the ones that do not matter.
Only eyes that matter are the three men in the black and white stripes out on the court. And they have decided that they agree with us, Dave. Wildcat basketball.
Finally, they heard us. Rick Batzel was not part of that review. I'm sure he can see just fine, but better to err on the side of caution.
1 second on the shot clock. Weber State had to throw it up. Forgot to mention that during the review, that they were down just 1 second after both their shots missed the rim. And so since that miss from Carlson didn't touch anyone on Boise State before the shot clock expired, Broncos got to take it out from under the basket with 1.5 minutes here to go in the first half. Alston, baseline. Now moving into the middle. Met by 3, still wants to go up with it. And Cam Davis comes away with the rebound. Shot selection there for Alston, a bit questionable as he was being triple teamed. Broncos playing suffocating defense at the moment. To 6 on the shot clock for Cunningham. Gives it up to Jawara. 4, deep 3 has to be taken, and that is what good defense will do for you.
Cannot say enough about that defense. One of the last 8 for Weber State from the floor. 4 turnovers in the last 6.5 minutes.
Alston tried to drive baseline there and met with a lot of resistance before drawing the foul. That's the 8th foul against Weber State, so the Broncos will be in the bonus. So Alston will go back to the free throw line. He went 1 for 2 in his first trip. And he makes the first of a 1-and-1. Got some help from the rim, but it drops nonetheless. Max Rice, Leon Rice, both over at the scorer's table. And Alston will make them both and jog to the bench for the last 40 seconds of the first half. Broncos on a 12-2 run here over the last 5 minutes to end the quarter. Not a bad way to end the half.
We talked so much about the defense. Unforced error.
Indeed, an unforced error. Broncos were guarding in the backcourt. Sissoko Jawara just spun it off his hand the wrong way and went straight out of bounds. As you can see, key jab, Acott back there and lost the handle.
I've done that before, but I'm sure he wasn't feeling good about that.
Broncos get a chance to add to that run. Acott up quick. Kuzak pulls down the miss. Broncos on top by 9. And Acott whistled for a foul all the way back at half court.
It's pretty impressive when we've been talking about that defense. You look at Weber State hitting 1 of their last 8, 5 turnovers in the last 6.5 minutes. Boise State on a 12-2 run. We don't have Marcus Shaver, who was one of their better defenders early on this season.
Marcus Shaver, all West Coast Conference honorable mention, back-to-back seasons, all freshman team in the West Coast Conference in 2018. Led UP in three-pointers when he was there for a season in 18-19. I mean, that's a guy that Boise State desperately wants on the court as the pass slips through the fingers of Acott. But a good thing for Boise State, we've talked about the depth before, is that it lets them play around situations like this. We don't exactly know what the timetable is on Shaver. He was in a boot in Provo on Wednesday. We don't know his estimated timetable for return or when he'll be back to 100%. But Ray J. Dennis filling the hole. Max Rice, a glue guy.
and add in whenever Dotrieve can play, whether that's next week or whenever.
There's the defense again, last second shot for Dennis, won't go, but Broncos strip Brown on one end. Dennis gets a chance, but in the end, it'll just be 9 points to lead for Boise State as we head into the break. Halftime up next, Boise State on top, 35-26 on the Mountain West Network. Welcome back to Extra Mile Arena. Broncos on top, 35-26 over the Wildcats. We talked about how good the defense has been, historically good for Boise State this season in all of their games. And here late in the second half, it came to prove once again.
After Weber State had a nice little run, getting out in transition, Boise State has done a phenomenal job of preventing the Wildcats from getting anything going. To end the first half, Weber State had 6 turnovers in the last 7-19 and made one of their last 8 shots from the field. And I think that for Boise State, that was something that Leon Rice said this week, that he knew that they maybe had some good defense when he was in practice, when watching this team. That's what he wants. But I think it's exceeded his own expectations a little bit.
And I think one of the things to mention here as well is Bronco opponents coming in on this season, the teams they've played, Sam Houston State, a very, very good Houston team in Game 1 to open the season down in Texas, BYU, and then College of Idaho, which is we can give a little bit of a pass to. But those 4 teams are averaging 18.8 turnovers a game against Boise State, and Boise State is averaging 8 steals a game. Those are 3 minus the College of Idaho, who in their own right is a very good team at their level, at the NAIA level. But a Houston team that is top 15 in the nation, a BYU team that always plays Boise State tough in that rivalry, and then a decent Sam Houston State team, and the Broncos are forcing nearly 20 turnovers a game against that type of opposition.
And that's been a big thing for Boise State in years. Usually in years past, they've always been so good offensively, so innovative, a team that can hit 3-pointers. But what is going to make the difference for them and this team with a stacked roster is that defense. And it's been a team effort for them, even with some key players out or who haven't even played yet.
You're very correct about that. As you mentioned, Devonair Dutrieve, he will be eligible when fall semester ends. Fall semester ends December 18th. That is the last day of finals here at Boise State University, while Broncos' first game, December 21st, right here at Extra Mile Arena against none other than the New Mexico Lobos, a team who may not have the talent this year as in years prior, but are always a very tough team to play, no matter whether you play them in the pit at Albuquerque or on your home floor.
Yeah, and for Boise State, that's huge too, because the Mountain West, your conference record always means a lot, but especially this year, for so many reasons, that is going to be huge. So any win they can get, however they can get it, they'll take it.
You make a great point there about the conference record, because last year it was Utah State and San Diego State. San Diego State was the #1 team in the nation for a couple weeks in the season last year, which is insane to think about when a group of 5 team, really, the only other group of 5 team that normally does that is Gonzaga, and San Diego State was right there with them last season. The year before that, Nevada broke into the top 10. This year, San Diego State's doing it again. They're already 5-0. They're putting up big wins for conference credibility, winning over 2 Pac-12 schools, 73-58 over UCLA. And then on Thursday, demolishing a very good number 23 in the nation Arizona State team, 80-68 in Tempe.
And thankfully, the Mountain West scheduling gods were kind, and Boise State is going to be playing San Diego State toward the end of the year, when Leon Rice hopes he can figure out all these rotations, when he can have people like Devonair Dutrieve in the mix, can have some of these new faces really comfortable. And I know we're talking about something that's more than about 3 months away, but that could be a huge matchup for Boise State playing against San Diego State, and a team that should, again, continue to be a top 25 caliber team.
And it certainly depends for the Broncos how the rest of their season goes, however. Can't overlook any games, and can't overlook this Weber State team that's on the court right now. We'll have the highlights from the first half coming up right after the break. Welcome back to Extra Mile Arena. Halftime here is members of both teams out shooting around on the court, trying to keep those baskets nice and toasty for the players. 35-26 is our score, as we'll take a look at some of the stats from the first half. And Dave, it's been a story through the first 4 games. We're seeing it here again. Everyone that touches the court for Boise State gets involved in the scoring load in some way, shape, or form. Alston and Kijab both have 9, but then Dennis Rice and Acott all with 5. And the Broncos are again threatening to have 4 or more players in double digits for the 5th time this season.
Right, and 4 of their starters today are guys that average double figures, and this is something that they've been building toward, having a team that can be so deep, not rely on any one guy in particular, even with the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year in Derrick Alston.
Yeah, Alston, indeed, the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year. It feels like he's been a non-factor, a non-story in this game. He does have 9 on 2 of 5 shooting. He's got 3 of those points at the free throw line. But when you have so many players around such a good player, it feels at sometimes that he can just disappear.
We saw the lineup that they had out there with Dennis Rice, Acott, Kejab, and Smith out there, that Derrick Alston was able to get some rest on the bench, and they were able to get a lot of really good contributions, especially on the defensive end, but even on the offensive end, without the guy that everyone was paying attention to before the season.
You're very correct about that. The numbers, as you saw on your screen, pretty similar for both teams. The Broncos shooting it a little bit better from the field and a lot better from 3. We'll talk about that when we come back. But the Broncos also getting it done at the free throw line. Weber State 4 of 6, Boise State 6 of 8 from the line. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Broncos from behind the arc and how well they have been hitting. Don't go anywhere. More basketball on the Mountain West Network coming up after this. Welcome back to Extra Mile Arena here on the campus of Boise State University. Leonard Berry, Dave Southern, Broncos on top, 35-26 at the moment here. And we talked earlier about the Broncos needing to be consistent from deep if they want to have success this season. So far, shooting 43% on the season through the first 4 games. Well, it doesn't get more consistent than in this game, 50%.
They have shot less than 30% in 3 of their 4 games, and I think that Boise State still has been able to win. In years past, if that was the case, they might not have won. Leon Rice always used to say, like the 3, love the rim, and I think that they used to be pretty dependent on the 3-point shot, but now it can be a little bit of a luxury. When they're hitting these 3-point shots, they aren't do or die for them, and when they're making them, they're going to be a real force to be reckoned with.
To be fair, over the last couple of seasons, to live by the 3 wasn't exactly that bad of a situation when you have Justinian Jessup, 52nd draft pick overall in the NBA draft, Mountain West and Boise State all-time career 3-point leader. So having Jessup made that a bit of a different story, but again, it was Jessup and Alston, and if Alston wasn't hitting, then it was just Jessup, and the Broncos were going to struggle for scoring. Not the case this season. Sure,
definitely not the case this season. They have a lot of guys who can hit them, but I think they've been able to be more efficient, being able to get the ball to the rim, or if they're taking those 3-point shots, they've usually been pretty open. A lot of the ones that we've seen them make today have been shots where they've been able to be created by the offense moving and getting a good look at that shot.
For the Broncos at the moment, Alston 2 of 3 on threes, Kejab 2 of 2 on 3-pointers, Rice 1 of 2 on them, and then Dennis and Acott 1 of 4 and 1 of 3 respectively. But this is what we've been talking about all season long, is everyone can shoot the 3, everyone will shoot the 3. If someone's struggling, someone else will pick up the slack. Again, as we talked about, Marcus Shaver not on the floor, he's deadly from the outside as well. And it's tough to stop the Broncos. Meanwhile, on the other side, Cody Carlson, the man from Duluth, Minnesota. Dave, as a native Minnesota, watching him have success, I'm sure gets you fired up.
I'm sure on the bus ride when they saw it was snowing a little bit outside, he felt right at home. He's done a real nice job, utilizing his height against Boise State. Armish, Milner have that height there, but Carlson, one of the top in the country in field goal percentage coming into this game. I know they're against non-D1s. Even taking a 3-pointer in this game and making it, he's really helped make Weber State a little bit more potent, considering that they also have Isaiah Brown there putting up a lot of points from that guard spot.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about Brown this game. He's got just 5 on 1 of 4 shooting, 2 for 2 at the free throw line. Carlson is the leading scorer for Weber State. He's got 9 on what for him is a bad day from the floor, 4 for 5. That actually brings his field goal percentage down, if you can believe that. He's at 84.6 right now over the season, which is just 2 games for Weber State, who, like the Broncos, have really struggled with scheduling this season. They've already had 2 games get canceled, including one that was supposed to take place yesterday in Logan, Utah against Utah State. Luckily for them, Boise State's game against Santa Clara, thanks to quarantine rules in the Bay Area, was canceled. If Santa Clara did come to Extra Mile Arena, They would have had to been out of action for 2 weeks, so they said, forget it, we're not going to come. Broncos managed to find a D1 opponent, and a good D1 opponent with this Weber State team that is well coached by head coach Randy Ray, and gave them a scare early on in the first half.
These two teams actually go way back. There was, they haven't played since 2005, but going back to the Boise State's Big Sky days, Weber State's 42-28 all time against them, and going back 1976, very first Big Sky tournament, Boise State beat Weber State to go to their first NCAA tournament. So these two teams go back, but I don't think any of these guys on the floor are really well aware of it.
Well aware of the game in the 76?
No, I'm not sure many of them know about Steve Connor. I think he put up 20 points in that game.
It was a thriller, too. It was double overtime in Ogden on Weber State's home floor for the Big Sky Championship. The Broncos won that one and took the conference's automatic bid to the NCAA tournament along with it. And I'm sure people from Ogden and longtime Weber State fans, WSU fans, do not forget about that loss. It'll be Weber State basketball to begin the second half after a bit of delay. And here's Acott guarding aggressively to begin the second half, just like how the first ended. Same starting five for both teams to begin the second half that began the first. Jawara to Carlson. Over his head, lost the handle, and Carlson came up limping a bit on that left knee. Gets back to recover, however, and ends up going down, trying to recover the rebound off the Armish miss. Here's Brown. He's been held in check. He's trying to fight through, and that is a jump ball. The defense again by Ray J. Dennis.
Boise State had played so well at the end of the first half defensively. You wonder if they could maintain it coming out of the locker room, but these first two possessions have clearly shown that defensive intensity is still there.
Brown quite agitated with the call. He wanted a foul. He didn't get it. And for a man who's averaging 27.5 a game, being held to just 5 in the first half, Broncos get the reset off a good offensive board. Armish sliding around, but he traveled. He got Kozak in the air, but he wasn't in a position to score the basketball. Had to take the extra step.
Another great dish there by Dennis. Splits the defense. But Armish couldn't quite finish it off right.
Fantastic angle we had there on the second look as well. So no score here in the second. As a no-look pass to Porter results in a quick three that goes in and out. And Carlson screaming at the trail official there. Wanted a foul call. Alston draws the foul on the pump fake. And that's Ziggy or Porter again. That's his third. With a lot of time left here in the game. Could see him head to the bench.
Boise State just seems like it's chipping away. That Weber State getting a little frustrated, and Boise State can keep taking advantage.
Acott gives it up to Dennis. 5 on the shot clock for the Broncos. Dennis spins back. Tipped out by Armish, but only into the hands of Porter. Porter moving fast. Jawara, no one around, and he's going to knock it down.
Much needed shot for the Wildcats there.
Acott wants to answer quickly. Kozak does end up getting it after being swarmed by Kijab and Armish. Porter swinging around. This time Dennis comes to defend. No easy bucket for Jawara this time. Kozak stepping outside. He's got it. Bronco lead is 3.
Just talking about Boise State and having their array of guys that aren't afraid to shoot the three. Same with Weber State. Carlson, Kozak, those guys 6'8" and up. They're not afraid.
Kozak's made a name for himself at WSU as a defender. 10th in all-time blocks at Weber State as Kijab comes through the lane. But him shooting it from the outside means that all 5 on the floor can shoot for Weber State, and the Broncos gotta be wary of that. We're going to call on the floor, and it is offensive against Kozak. Didn't get the signal, but Kijab takes the charge.
Great just series there for Kijab on the offensive end, out-muscling a pretty strong guy in Carlson to get that bucket. Then on the other end, drawing the offensive foul.
So 37-32 is our score. As Derrick Alston tries to make something happen at the top of the key. Great pass to Dennis all the way across the court, but again, Dennis is short.
Sometimes in the past, Leon Rice has said to shoot through it, and maybe that's what he's trying to do.
Armish grabs the board off the Jawara miss. Alston, transition, 3-ball, yes! Little help from the rim, but it goes down nonetheless.
That's the Alston I think that some of the NBA folks want to see. If he can, as we've said before, if he can drop those 3-pointers, he's going to be a really appealing guy.
3 of 4 from deep so far, and all of a sudden Weber State has become married to the outside. 4 straight 3-balls on consecutive trips. Rice, key jab. That one no good. Now Brown fouled by Alston, who can't believe the call.
Got the elbow.
Got a little bit of the elbow, and we will take a break. 40-32, our score here at ExtraMile Arena. 8-point Bronco lead so far here with just under 5 minutes played in the second half. And both Boise State and Weber State falling in love with the 3-ball. Dave, I know it's an easier shot to get than getting inside, but it's not as easy to knock down as working for the shot indoors.
Easier said than done. You see in warm-ups, they can make 10 in a row. But when you got just a guy even in your general vicinity trying to stop you, not so easy.
After the foul on Alston, it's Isaiah Brown at the line. He makes the first. He'll get another. Makes them both. Does the Lakeside High School grad. Fun fact, Lakeside High School in Seattle, Washington. Paul Allen and Bill Gates, both graduates of that school, along with Isaiah Brown.
That is a fun fact, Leonard.
So
I thought I was the only one that had those, so there you go.
Hey, if the basketball career doesn't work out, maybe he can go into being a billionaire. Wouldn't be too bad for him. Max Rice, 7 on the shot clock. 3-ball, tipped by Kijab, but the second chance effort won't fall either. Porter with some dangerously high dribbles. Acott didn't reach a hand in there. Brown moves it now. Ends up back with Porter on that far side. Here's Carlson again, just around Armish, like he's not even there.
Great movement there too, and a nice sort of no-look pass there to set up Carlson really easily.
So a 4-point Bronco lead. Boise State looks to get something going offensively here in the second. We got just 5 points compared to Weber State's 10. It's Armish. And again, Carlson's there, but Kijab with the steal. And unfortunately, turns it straight back over to Carlson. 3-ball. Carlson again.
The man is feeling it.
He's got 14 on 6 of 7 shooting. Weber State on a quick 7-0 run. Broncos have watched their lead evaporate. Dennis was open. Kijab wanted the shot instead and hit the hardwood in a tough way. 5 on the shot clock. Now 3. Looks like it's going to be Kijab. And we've got a shot clock violation against the Broncos. So we talked about the Bronco defense, but The Wildcat defense is here as well.
Boise State needed a little bit of a line change there. It's a rough sequence for the Broncos. Carlson is playing so tough. He goes to the bench, but he's been a force for Weber.
And at the moment, it's Isaiah Brown getting checked out. Looks like that collision with Kejab maybe opened up a cut on his eyebrow, or maybe even something in his eye.
Or contact? Can't.
Possibly. As a non-glasses contact, where I don't understand the struggle or the plight of the contact wearer, but I have heard nothing but bad things.
I'm in the same boat. I've covered many basketball games, and occasionally you see people just crouched on the floor, just crouched trying to find a drop contact.
It looks like that's what we have going on at the moment. There's 4 at half court, all on their knees, but they get up. Nazir J. Smith, as you just saw on your screen, he's checked in for the Broncos, with Dennis going to the bench. Porter wide open. And so Weber State relinquishing a little bit of that offensive prowess. And it looks like Max Rice has just drawn a foul. Indeed, he has. KJ Cunningham picking up the foul for WSU. Smith into the paint. Armish, reverse.
Boise State had missed its last 6 shots before that. Nice play by Smith. He's provided a nice spark. Hasn't filled up the stat sheet, hasn't scored, but done some nice things defensively, and then a great pass there to Armish.
That ball stays inbounds, actually going off the bottom of the backboard, so it'll be a Weber State turnover, their 15th of the game. And now Alston wants to create, finds a wide open Acott, step back, 3 ball, off the rim, fought for, and Armish went over the back. That is the first personal foul against Mladen Armish this game. Stark contrast to Wednesday against BYU, where he fouled out with 8:11 on the clock in the second half.
I think he'll get there today. He'll play in that last 8:11.
Here's Porter to Jawara. This is a matchup they want. Armish on Jawara. Great pass. Barely stayed in bounds. Corner 3. And it's off. Just a little bit too strong from the Spaniard. We got another blocking foul. That's Zigier Porter. That's his 4th. So Porter is in a lot of foul trouble. And it looks like Brown is back. The contact solution is solved. And he will check in for Porter. And Kejab will come in for Armish. So Broncos going small here.
Taking advantage of Carlson getting his rest. And Kozak's out there too. Still on the bench. So everybody going on the smaller end.
Been popularized quite a bit recently, especially in the NBA. You see trickle-down effects all over. Of course, at certain levels, you don't have the height.
Don't have a choice.
But of course, here at the Division I level, most teams do have someone at least 6'9", 6'10", 5 on the shot clock. Max Rice, backdoor cut.
Acott has some impressive court vision. We've seen that in the 3 games now that he's played, and again right there finding the cut in Max Rice for that shot.
Brown wants to get involved. Can't find that one to fall. Back to Acott. 5.65 is the line for him. 5.6 rebounds, 5 assists, and now Alston wants in on the scoring action.
When he implies his will, he slaps the floor on defense. But when he applies his will, he's really tough to stop. Still not the biggest guy, but he can move.
And we've got a foul away from the basketball. And it is on Derrick Alston. 46-39 is our score. Rice and Alston scoring at the bucket. As we take a break, Broncos lead it on the Mountain West Network. Welcome back to Extra Mile Arena. Derrick Alston leading the way for Boise State. 14 points on 4 of 8 shooting. We saw him get into it. We saw him get emotional after that last bucket. And that's one thing it seems to me that I've noticed over the last couple of years following Derrick Alston is that when he is emotional, when he is angry, excited, whatever it may be, that's when he's at his best.
Absolutely, and that it stems from the confidence. You saw when he went to the basket and made that shot, how good, that's confidence right there. And then afterward, slapping the floor, that's what they want to see from him.
Tons of contact, even contact at the rim there. It's Smith with some great defense against Jawara. And Alston's going to pull this. We talked about the confidence. There it is. It goes down. You can see it. You can just see it on the court when Alston is there. He's going. He's going to shoot.
It reminds me a lot of the way Chandler Hutchison, as he got more comfortable on just playing, he got more confident and showed a lot more of that emotion, became more of that leader type. And you can see it right here with DA. He drops the 3, and he's right in front of the bench. The man's jazzed up.
It is certainly something that if Coach Leon Rice could bottle it and just hand it to Alston before every game and say, here, take this, he would do it. Here he comes again. He wants to do it all on his own. Fade away. And an over-the-back foul against the Broncos. Now, there is the one criticism right there. They instantly run an ISO play for Alston. He tries to do it all by himself. He takes the contested fadeaway. The 50-50ness of knowing when to give it up, knowing when to take your shot, sometimes isn't there.
I was about to say, he's from Houston. I was thinking of the guy with the beard, runs a lot of ISO stuff, but but Alston, 17 points, that's his second best of the season so far.
10-point lead for Boise State as Kejab jumps the pass to Carlson. Officials letting Boise State get away with a lot on the defensive end. Even there, tons of contact on Brown as he drives to the rim. Aycock comes away with the miss.
Having that depth, it just seems like, I was going to say, with that depth, it seems like Boise State can be really aggressive on the defensive end because they can rotate guys in and out, so you can always be pestering. But Smith, the great putback, showing that depth as we were just talking about on the offensive end.
Randy Ray wants a timeout. Nazajay Smith gets the bucket on the hard second chance effort. 51-39, Broncos on top. Broncos on an 11-0 run here over the last 4 minutes. They pushed their lead to 51-39. Nazajay Smith getting it done on the offensive glass. And Dave, we haven't talked about him much. We mentioned his depth, but coming out of Cochise College, led the Apaches to back-to-back Arizona Community College Conference titles, averaged 23.3 points a game last season as a sophomore. Again, another guy on this Bronco team that when people were talking about the hype, talking about the excitement, talking about let's go to the tournament, Dutrieve, Aycock, Shaver, these are guys that were overlooked that are going to play a big part in if Boise State can make a tournament run and if they can win a game in the tournament.
We saw Smith come in early in this game and thought, oh, he might just be in for a little bit off the bench, but he's provided some really nice looks on the defensive end. We've seen him, but on the offensive end with that putback we just saw, he had a nice assist. Again, we hammer depth, but he's really, really another part of it.
Well, there's a huge block from Aycock rejecting Kuzak. 3-ball goes up and no good again. Bronco defense, again, flexing their muscles. Weber State have not scored a single point in the last 5 minutes. Alston, no good. Now he's open for 3. That one off everything and out of bounds over the backboard.
Yeah, the defensive effort. I think one of the things that Leon Rice really wanted to take out of that BYU game was, for spurts, they looked excellent on the defensive end. And I was driving up to the game today, and I saw him on the sidewalk. And I said hi, and he mentioned, I think one of the things they wanted to try to accomplish in this game was consistency defensively, not just have it be really good for 30 minutes. I think he wanted to see if they can put together a full defensive effort. There's still 8.5 minutes left, but Weber State's missed the last 8 shots. Boise State's on an 11-0 run. That I think they're seeing a lot of what they wanted to see in this game.
And you talk about great defense, as Armish whistled for a foul there, nearly a steal. And in spurts, well, a spurt certainly came at the beginning of that BYU game. Broncos got out to a huge lead on a run at the end, at the half. It was only a 9-point game. It ended up only being a 4-point game. And again, we talk about consistency. Well, defensive consistency is a thing as well. And getting consistent stops on the defensive end is simply not easy. And it will be even harder in a very good Mountain West Conference as Brown rattles home a 3.
And I think, again, we said so many times, but when you have a lot of guys, you can rotate them in and out. They can give that 100% effort, just be a constant pain to the other team's offense. I think that goes a long, long way, and we haven't even seen it in its full form yet for Boise State, so they got to like what they've done so far. Big slam there by Alston. See him get excited when he hits a 3, but on that dunk, on that cut, that's going to give some juice.
And the backdoor cut from Alston, great find from Dennis on the 2-hand flush. Looks like someone on the Broncos may have picked up a foul. Either way, it's an 11-point game. Broncos on top, 53-42, 7:43 to play here in the second half. Well, Derrick Alston has been taken over in the second half. A big 2-hand slam to send us to the media timeout. Broncos up 11, and he's got 19 in the game so far here this afternoon.
Only 2 assists from Ray J. Dennis in this game, but that was another one. We saw it at the end of the BYU game with his no-look pass to Emmanuel Acott on the game-winning 3. Right there, too, some nice vision. Nice play to get Derrick Alston flying toward that rim.
And Acott hit the game winner on Wednesday. Not having a hot game from the field today at all. 2 for 10 from the floor. Same with Dennis. He's struggling as well, 1 of 6. But Acott at least getting it done in the rebounding department and the assist department. He's the team's leading rebounder with 7, and the team's leading assister with 6. As you mentioned, Dennis held to just 2 assists so far in the game. And Kechab, the only other Bronco in double digits. Both him and Alston went into the break with 9. Alston's got 10 here in the second half. The rest of the team hasn't been so lucky to get as many points. So Weber State needs some good offensive sets. Well, why don't they respond with a 2-hand slam of their own? Mikhail Kozak throwing down the hammer.
Very nice look there out of the timeout break there for Weber State, trying to end the Schneid. They're 2 of their last 10 from the field. Dennis back top to Armish. 3 ball on its way. Ray J for 3. He had opened the game with a 3-pointer, and then finally gets another after having missed, I think, 4 in a row after that. Brown making his own space with the jumper as he's up to 12. Broncos doing a great job of holding him in check, the leading scorer for the Wildcats. Entry pass, Armish too strong, and Brown the board. Yeah, Dennis opened the scoring for both teams with a 3-pointer. Opened the scoring in the game, and since then had gone stone cold until the last 3. Armish picks up his 3rd
with 6:20 left, and Coach Rice doesn't like it. He wants an explanation, or rather, he is explaining what should be and shouldn't be a foul to the officiating crew. So Carlson at the line. So take a look at Randy Ray, 15th season as the coach of the Wildcats. Carlson makes both, 56-48. The score seems closer than the game feels here inside the arena. Key jab, moves it to Alston. Dangerous pass, and Porter saw it, and then behind his back finds a way to get it to someone in a purple jersey. Brown working on Dennis. Spins away, stripped. Again, Ray J. Dennis coming up with a steal.
Just that defense being pesky. Another jumper. Key jab. I know we talked about it, the College of Idaho game, that he's been probably the most consistent guy for Boise State with those mid-range shots. Hits another one there off the break.
How about Ray J. Dennis? 4 steals on the afternoon. Playing a huge part in this 10-point game with the defense. Corner 3, breakdown defensively for the Broncos. But Porter can't get the look to fall.
That's what stood out to me this week. Emmanuel Aycott, who had that game-winning 3 against BYU on the Dennis assist, said that Dennis's defense was the thing that's impressed him most this year.
Alston has the shot waved off. Foul will be on the floor. And the Broncos defense, it's been a talking point. They forced 16 turnovers so far here on the afternoon. And Boise State here up by 10 with 5 minutes to play. You don't want to say they're getting bailed out, but they're getting a lot of help from Weber State not making open threes. There have been a couple of lapses defensively. Weber State's not taking advantage. They're just 6 of 23 as Dennis now gets involved on the offensive end with a basket.
A little bit of confidence there. He's looking for the foul, but a little bit of contact, but all's well that ends well. Made the shot.
So under 5 to play here in the game. Broncos on top by 12. As Weber State playing their first road game of the entire season. Sticking with Boise State, and it looks like a foul going to be called against Derrick Alston once more. Scratch that, make it Ray J. Dennis picking up the foul there. Both he and Alston were in the area. So Brown will go to the line. 4th in the country in scoring, averaging 27.5 a game, and he's not threatening that mark so far today. That free throw gives him 13 on the day. Cody Carlson still leading the Wildcats with 16, but he hasn't done much in the second half. Both free throws go down, and then Coach Randy Ray calls a timeout. So 10-point game. Weber State hanging around, 4:32 to play here at ExtraMile Arena. We'll be back taking a break on the Mountain West Network. The Broncos are letting Weber State hang around in this one, but they've been getting it done here in the second half. 25 points for Boise State on 11 of 28 shooting, but the 3 ball not falling. 3 of 11 from behind the arc for the Broncos here in half number 2.
Still 10 for 25, 40% for the game, but they have had 3 of their 4 games where they've been below 30%. So that does seem why this game may seem a little closer than it is. They haven't been hitting those shots, but defensive end has been good, and depth is showing up. 3 guys in double figures.
Broncos with 22 of their 60 points coming inside the paint as well. As Dennis off to key jab. Max Rice kind of in the way there, unfortunately, for Boise State, as Dennis was trying to pass it to someone else. Ends up as another turnover against the Broncos. opportunity for the Wildcats to cut this lead to single digits. It's Brown, and Carlson finally gets a foul call. Kejab knocked him to the ground, and it looked for a moment there that it was going to go unwhistled. So our score remains 60-50, 3:59 to play. We'll take another break. Final media of the half. We've got less than 4 to play here at ExtraMile Arena. Broncos still holding on to their 10-point lead, but it's Cody Carlson at the free throw line looking to cut that into a single-digit deficit for the Wildcats.
Wildcats still haven't made a field goal in almost 3 minutes. And Boise State's hit 4 of the last 5, but neither team seems like they're really in a groove by any means.
Broncos were in a groove to end the first half. Wildcats came out and found their stride to begin the second. And the man from Duluth will get another, and he leaves it off the back iron. Does manage to cut the lead to single digits. Just 9 now as Acott receives a long cross quarter from Dennis. Alston left alone. Brown trying to contest. And the foul. Alston counting them up 3 and 1.
Doing the Steph Curry, right?
Good find from Dennis. And Alston with both feet behind the line. He's got 22 now with a chance to make it 23 right here.
24 career 20-point games now for young DA.
And we talked in the first half about how it was hard to notice him at times because his offensive spurts were coming during Weber State's offensive scoring output. But make no mistake, the second half, Alston has made his name known on the court.
Almost half of their points, 14 of their 29 have come straight from him.
Kozak nearly with a double dribble there. Manages to get it off to Porter. Now Brown directing traffic. 3 ball, back iron. Drew enough that he could get the offensive rebound set up for Kozak. Porter, a lot of contact, foul on the floor. So the Wildcats will take it out on the side. Excuse me, Broncos are in the bonus, so scratch that. Instead, Porter will go to the line, and he will shoot 2. 10 fouls on the Broncos. Weber State in the double bonus here for the last 3:08. Porter hits them both. 64-53 our score. Porter, who's been having a dreadful game from the floor. In fact, everyone but Cody Carlson is having a poor game shooting the basketball for Weber State. Kejab. He's got the matchup he wants on Kozak, but gives it up. Now he gets it back. Again, working on Kozak. Going into the basket and rejected. Did not think that was the shot he was going to try to work for, but Mikhail Kozak adds to his career block total. And a smooth rejection there as well.
Kejab's done a nice job on those plays this game, but that one didn't work so well.
Kozak is an intimidating force in the paint. 80 career blocks coming into this one, so make it 81 now. That's 10th best in Weber State history.
6'8" guy, not bad, not bad.
Not bad for a 6'8" guy at all. As he picks up the foul there, defending against Kejab. So that'll send Kejab to the line. 7 fouls against the Wildcats. Puts the Broncos in the bonus.
Boise State's going to want to hit those free throws down the stretch. As you mentioned earlier, Weber State coming in, very good free throw shooting team. 13 of 16 today. And key jab, 4 fouls. So Boise State's got to hit these when they get the opportunity.
Key jab does hit them both. I think we're going to see him retreat to the bench. Indeed, we will. And there he is again. Naza J. Smith going to play some vital minutes here. 13-point game with 2:40 for the Broncos. They would hope that lead will hold up. Of course, as we saw here a season ago, no lead may be safe. Broncos coming back huge against Utah State, down 18 with under 4 to play. The man on the ball was a mega factor in that victory, Ray J. Dennis. Probably one of the best wins in program history.
Still unreal thinking of that. And how Ray J. Dennis spearheaded that, just incredible.
That was the welcome home game for Ray J. Dennis. That's another basket for Dennis, as he's got 12 in the game. So Broncos again threatening to have 4 in double digits. Key jab 15, Alston 23, Dennis 12. Max Rice is the next closest with 7 as Brown gets the shooter's roll. Rice not on the court, so Acott would be the man to break double digits for the Broncos. It's out on the floor, most likely. He's got 5. But with a 13-point lead, Broncos want to use as much of this shot clock as possible as it creeps down under 10 before anything starts happening. Dennis, pass to Acott, 3 on the clock. Around Kozak, right-hand floater, no good. Smith crashing the glass. Arm is crashing the glass. Acott, the tip-in slam.
Some serious teamwork there. Everybody kind of showing what they got.
4th time's the charm for the Broncos. Foul on the floor against Dennis. Acott, no. Smith, no. Armish, no. Acott says, I'll do it again.
Najee Smith's reaction was pure elation there.
It's a big-time play from Acott. That bucket basically iced the game. Minute and a second to play, 70-56 after the first free throw falls. One more coming up for Brown here, who's put together a pretty solid second half. After struggling in the first, he's now got 16, make it 17 with that one falling. He's just 1 of 4 in the first half. He's only 3 of 7 here in the second, but he's 6 for 6 on free throws.
He's with Carlson. Carlson's been very good most of this game. Hasn't had as good of a second half, and then that's when you've seen Brown kind of step it up a little bit, but a little bit too little, too late.
And this Weber State team, again, hanging around, 70-57, but they gave the Broncos a scare in the first. A little bit again at the beginning of the second half, but this Boise State team, again, it looks like is going to find a way. They found a way against BYU after losing both Milner and Armish to foul trouble. They nearly found a way against Houston, only losing by 10 after a horrendous shooting performance, it has to be said, from everyone.
Yes.
And now here, finding a way against Weber State, who kept it close.
Yeah, and I think for Boise State, being able to pick up this game and have a good challenge, keep the momentum going a little bit. This has been a positive development for them, being able to get this game and being able to do what they've done. As we said, fixing some of the things that maybe didn't go great last time out, even though they did beat BYU.
Now for the Broncos, as Rice goes down, trying to reach for the pass, but it's a foul. It's on Isaiah Brown as he impeded Rice's path to the basketball. Broncos are going to have 8 days off between this game here, Sunday afternoon, before taking on New Mexico, 7:30 p.m. Monday night next week, as Rice misses the free throw. Weber State wants to go fast. They have to go fast, but Porter misses that one, and the Broncos will be able to drain another 30 seconds off the shot clock and secure this victory. 8 days between now and the first Mountain West matchup. New Mexico, to be fair, hasn't played a game yet all season, so they're going to be rusty as well.
We'll see if 8 days, that's a pretty good gap, but at least Boise State was able to get this game, make that layoff a little bit shorter.
3 on the shot clock. Rice up and under. No good. And Bronco basketball, Carlson whistled for the foul. So that will allow Boise State to go to the free throw line yet again. It'll be Armish at the line. And no good. Again, Weber State's going to go quick with Porter, guarded by Acott. This time he gets it to go, but just stat filling as the outcome is no longer in doubt.
Boise State's going to hold another team under 40%.
And they're going to walk away with a 70-59 victory as the final buzzer goes. Again, Broncos not in action until next Monday when they play the New Mexico Lobos. Lobos got a victory today. Their first game of the season, beat Rice 72-61. They will play against Our Lady of the Lakes on a neutral site court on December 15th in Houston. But those will be their only 2 games before they come here to ExtraMile Arena.
And Boise State's played some pretty top-notch opponents, and they have more games under their belt. And that depth, I think Boise State still should feel good about themselves even with the big layoff.
And Boise State getting the victory. Derrick Alston paving the way. He finishes with 23 on 7 of 14, 5 of 7 from deep. The consistency from downtown locked in this afternoon for DA.
DA looked, as you said, locked in. When he feels confident and he's feeling it, that he is the Mountain West Player of the Year. And we saw that today, especially in the second half, which has to be good for them when he hasn't been always super consistent this season. Being able to get that for them heading into this break is big.
Broncos only have 3 people finish in double digits, so the streak of 4 straight games with 4 or more finishing with 10 gone by the wayside. Dennis with 12, Alston with 23, Kejab with 15, and your leading rebounder and assister in the game, Armish with 10 boards, Acott with 6 assists and 8 rebounds.
Acott didn't have his big game, didn't have the big shot like he did against BYU, but showed that he can do so many things. The Swiss Army knife, as Leon Rice would call him.
Indeed, showing his versatility as most of the Broncos did today. They get the big win, 70-59 over Weber State, double digits. Once again, they'll be back in action on Monday, the 21st, against New Mexico. That game will be on FS1 and on radio. Bob Beeler and Abe Jackson will have the call here locally in Boise. For Dave Southern, the rest of our production crew here at Boise State University, we thank you so much for tuning in on the broadcast, and we will see you next Monday night for Boise State men's basketball.